Hello,
Hello guys,
guys.
what's up? Okay, so the work that we are looking at right now is called The Burghers of Calais. This was made by Auguste Rodin in 1884 through 1895, and it was made of bronze through lost wax casting. In 1895, the original one was installed in Calais in a public park, but is now currently residing in the Met.
The original statues were also on a pedestal. However, there were many copies made, including the one residing in the Museum of Rodin. The original was commissioned to have a pedestal, while Rodin made a copy without the pedestal to allow the viewers to be eye level with them to convey the intent and emotional response he initially wanted.
Now let's dig deeper into this. As you can see, the bodies appear to be thin and malnourished, with the bones and joints being clearly visible. Despite this, they stand with strength and endurance. Rodin took good care in each expression, body position, clothing fold, and feature of the six councilmen.
And you may notice none of them have eye contact with each other. There is a sense of familiarity with each other due to the slumped shoulders and anguished expressions. A majority of them are looking down, which draws the viewers to take a closer look at their expressions.
There is shame and a sense of loneliness that is evident in their eyes and expressions. These people are not simply citizens of Calais. They are proud councilmen who represent their city in which they love, delivering its keys in tattered sackcloths.
Continuing the discussion on the features, the heavy drapery that hangs from their shoulders falls to the ground like lead weights, grounding them and creating a mass of strong, unyielding bodies.
And as you can see here, there are 6 people.
Yep, and I'll probably mispronounce the names, but going left to right, we have Jean de Fiennes, we have Auguste Rodin, we have Jacques de Wissant, we have Eustache de Saint-Pierre, and we have Andrew d'Angers, we have John Dier.
We will talk about the reason there are 6 men later. For now, let's focus on these 2.
The leader of the group was Eustache de Saint-Pierre. He is depicted with large swollen hands and a noose around his neck. To Saint Pierre's left, Jean Dier is depicted holding the key to the city.
While all of these men are important, these 2 had specific jobs other than walking to their execution. These men volunteered to sacrifice themselves for their city at the demand of the King of England.
Just from their downcast yet solemn expressions, you can see that each man has accepted his fate, especially Jean Dier, who has his head held up high and his gaze ahead, which is surprisingly different from Eustache de Saint-Pierre's tilted head. In a way, this piece is similar to others, with the intricate folds and emotion-packed expressions. In its specifics, this piece reminds me of The Seated Boxer, and how both showcase anguish and despair, as well as how both were made from lost wax casting and are carved in a far more naturalistic way than statues of the classical Greek era or even early Egyptian era.
Yes, the Hellenistic period in Greece focused on the passion and the spirit of human beings. It is not outlandish to compare this statue to that period, as it represents exactly what that period valued.
And actually, speaking of the Egyptian era, in a way, the Burghers of Calais differ not only in material, but in positioning as well. The statue of King Minkare and his queen are shown with simplistic body forms, almost in an idealistic way, and in stiff poses, which would be a classic pose to use for some time. As for the Burghers of Calais, which I mentioned earlier, it is far more emotional and naturalistic, making the figures look incredibly humanistic compared to King Minkare and his queen.
Now, to get into the history of this piece, we are going to start with the 100 Years' War. During this time, the King of England, Edward III, had laid siege on Calais during the Battle of Crécy. In order for King Philip VI of France to save his city, King Edward III had demanded he send 6 of the city's leaders to walk around with nooses and carry the keys of the cities and castles. The first among them to volunteer was actually Saint Pierre, but the only reason these men survived was because Queen Philippa of England believed it would be a bad omen for her unborn baby.
Now let's talk about our artist, Auguste Rodin. He was a rather rude man, if we're being honest, and despite being denied from a prestigious art school in Paris 3 times, he still managed to be given this commission. In 1885, Rodin was requested to make a statue of Eustache de Saint Pierre, but unfortunately for his commissioner, he wanted to do it his own way.
Auguste Rodin decided to model it on Jean Froissart, a French chronicler in the 14th century who wrote about the war. So instead of following a heroic piece, Rodin decided to depict one with a threat of death.
He also made the composition into a circle, which made no man a focal point, so you really aren't sure who's the leader here.
And of course, his patrons were displeased with this, so he had to present the Burghers of Calais on a raised pedestal. This isn't how he wanted the viewers to see this piece, so he decided to create another with no pedestal, which was later placed in his museum.
Rodin wanted people to be able to see these burgers despair from a street-level view, so each viewer could walk around and see each perspective. It was his belief that this would allow them to personally experience the event. And, excuse me, Rodin was a rather risky artist, but he set a standard for all artists who came after him.
And I find it rather funny. He went off on his own and just made his own depiction.
I really think he should have followed his commissioner's wishes, though. That is, if he wants to keep making money.
Yeah, I mean, it shows how risky he is, but I agree with Ben considering the commissioners paid for this, so. And thank you for watching.
Bye!